Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Rainbow Push Coalition Community Meeting. We are broadcasting live at Dr. King's workshop in the Community Hall in Chicago's Hyde Park neighborhood, 930 East 50th Street. We are live on WVON radio station, AM 1690 on your radio, and WJYS in Chicago, and also on the Word Network around the world and the country on Facebook and YouTube. But there is nothing like being here with us to participate in our community as we bring in to you our perspective, unadulterated, as we have done every Saturday morning since 1971 in the tradition of our founder, Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr. Our mission is to gain, protect, and defend civil and human rights, level the economic and educational playing field, support justice and self-determination for all people. We know that when we fight for right, we win against great odds. I want everybody to stand as we sing the chorus. To the push is on. There's work for us to do. Come on, stand up and clap your hands. Not standing, I'm going to ask you to stand now as we sing the Black National Anthem. Lift every voice and sing. Lift may be seated. We have a full program today. But before we get started, I'm going to ask Reverend Jeanette Wilson to come and give our invocation, please.
Shall we bow our heads? Our Father, our God, we pause to say thank you. Thank you for your sacrifice on Calvary. Thank you for how you brought this organization across the years through so many snares, toils, and dangers. God, we just want to say thank you. Thank you for those who've gathered today to hear a word, to hear a destination of action, to understand the climate that we live in, the problems that we face. God, we thank you for being with us through it all. And in the midst of it all, God, we thank you for those who have come to share information from Community Renewal Society, from Chicago State University, God, even from Congress. We are asking that you will be with us. Guide our thoughts and all that we do may be pleasing and acceptable in your sight. For you are our strength and our Redeemer. We thank you for our founder and all that he has done to prepare the way before us. We thank you for Reverend Jesse Jackson and all that he means to this organization, to the nation, and even the world. And God, as we go forth, you be with us. Guide and direct us. We ask these things in your name. Let every heart say, amen.
Thank you. As we get prepared to go through today, we ask that you keep in prayer the families of Tracy McLemore and Derek Stretch Simmons as they mourn their losses. We will be blessed today by the Reverend Dr. Rotrina Middleton, President Z. Scott of Chicago State University, and Congressman Jonathan Jackson. Please be aware of the following. Our much anticipated Women of the Movement celebration has been rescheduled for Saturday, May 10th as a part of our Mother's Day tribute. You're invited to stand up for economic justice at the One Fair Wage rally on Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025 from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Lincoln statue in Springfield, Illinois. Now is the time to raise the wage in Illinois and demand fair pay for all workers. Free transportation is provided. Buses will depart from Rainbow Push here, 930 East 50th Street at 6 a.m., returning to Chicago by 7 p.m. Lunch and refreshments will be provided. Again, this is on Tuesday, April 22nd. Let's raise our voices and make it clear. If you see us, pay us, join us, and join the movement for one fair wage. Additionally, join the Cook County 3rd District Town Hall Health is Wealth on Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. Point of personal privilege, this is held at my church, Kenwood United Church of Christ. And so I would love to see you in the place on Tuesday, April 22nd at 6 p.m. with Commissioner Bill Lowry as be hosted there, as we will engage a necessary conversation on health with resources available through Cook County. You will hear directly from top medical leaders, including experts in behavioral health, county care, and community clinics. You can learn how to access these services, screenings, and programs that support your well-being. For more information, you can contact the Office of Commissioner Bill Lowry. Join us for a letter writing campaign to help fight prison gerrymandering on Saturday, April 26, 2025 from 12:30 to 2 p.m. here at the Push headquarters, together with Change Illinois, the Illinois Alliance for Reentry and Justice, the Muslim Civic Coalition, and Rainbow Push. We'll write letters to incarcerated individuals, building connection and informing them of their right to be counted in their home communities. Your voice matters, so let's make sure every person counts where they truly belong. There is a QR code that can be and will be provided that you can scan as well for more information. Well, here at Rainbow Push, we have moved from agitation to action. Agitation is naming the crisis. We began by sounding the alarm as civil rights protections were rolled back and extremist ideologies gained ground. We examined organized threats like the New Apostolic Reformation and the Dark Enlightenment, unmasking how oligarchs and technocrats are shaping anti-democratic movements. We then shifted to information, understanding the challenge. We equipped ourselves with knowledge. Legal experts like Attorney General Kwame Raoul revealed how federal protections are being dismantled. We studied the the rise of figures like Elon Musk and Vivek, and we champion privatization, understand the privatization of deregularization, and connected those trends to media disinformation, economic exploitation, and institutional breakdowns. Now we are at the point of mobilization, coordinated faith-based action. So we act in partnership with faith leaders such as Reverend Dr. Jamal Bryant, Reverend Dr. William Barber, and Father Michael Flager. The think tank is organizing strategic responses, messaging workshops, civil disobedience campaigns, and cross-sector alliances to build power and advance equity. So in this light, we encourage you to register for the Faith Leaders Think Tank on Thursday, April 24th, the Church Messaging Workshop on Tuesday, April 29th, and please save the date for the Rainbow Push People's Conference, a call to action. Save the date for the Rainbow Push People's Conference, call to action. It'll be held Thursday, June 12th through Saturday, June the 14th. Confirmed speakers and presenters include Reverend Dr. Jamal Bryant, Reverend Dr. William Barber, Nicole Turner-Lee, Reverend Al Sharpton, and Attorney C.K. Hoffler. Well, our first speaker today is going to be President Z. Scott of Chicago State University. I want you to join me in welcoming President Scott, the 12th permanent president of Chicago State University and a nationally respected leader in education, law, and public service. Since taking office in 2018, President Scott has led a bold transformation at CSU, launching a strategic plan, rebranding the university, and championing equity in higher education through initiatives like the Illinois Equity Working Group, a former federal prosecutor, law firm partner, and Illinois' first executive inspector general. President Scott has built a career at the intersection of ethics, justice, and innovation. She serves on multiple influential boards, is a sought-after speaker, and has been widely recognized for her leadership, including the Crain's Chicago business as one of the city's most powerful women. We are honored today to have with us today a proven change agent and inspiring voice for justice and transformation. Can you give it up for President Z. Scott as she comes?
I want to thank you for that warm introduction. I'd like a copy of it. Good morning, everyone. It is important for me to be here today in a place where hope lives. And I appreciate the invitation from Reverend Jeanette to be here this morning, to not only talk to you a few minutes about Chicago State University, but talk to you about what's going on in higher education in Illinois and how it is not only impacting all communities, but particularly how it is impacting the Black community. So Chicago State, as everybody knows, if you grew up in Chicago, if you've lived in Chicago, you've been here any time, it's on the southeast side of Chicago. What most of you don't know is we sit on 161 acres of land. And the majority of our student population, 79% of it is Black. And 10% is Hispanic. But we serve all people. The freshman year at Chicago State is free. A student interested in pursuing higher education can apply, check that they want to participate in what we call our RISE Academy, and have an entire freshman year at no cost. That means we are paying for tuition, books, technology, and fees. And the reason we have chosen this as a path for our students is because of the rate at which Black students are going to colleges in state has dropped 37% in the last 10 years. And do you know what that means to communities and families and the way that we live when education is not a door that you think you can enter? That is why we are doing what we can while we can to open the door to access to education. Chicago State is in the top 4% of all colleges and universities in this country in economic mobility. That means when a student gets a degree from Chicago State, they will move up the economic ladder. And education, and our ancestors did this, and they know this, is a proven value. If you are educated, if you have a college degree, you will live longer. And we are operating in zip codes that see some of the worst health and life expectancy outcomes in this city. So education is even more imperative. We are in the top 3% of all colleges and universities in this country and graduating black students with degrees in physics. We are driving economic development on the southeast side of Chicago, on the south side generally. We are working in areas to build pathways in quantum, AI, creative arts, literature, science. We are doing it all from 95th Street and King Drive. And we are building a university village concept that will bring buildings and economic vitality to our neighborhood using our land that is estimated to bring $14 million of new spending to the South Side. But my message today is about an urgent need for college degree access for our people and our communities. Illinois has acknowledged that it has not funded its public higher education institutions to the tune of $1.4 billion. And we did the work over the past 3 years, being led by the Illinois Legislative Back Caucus, particularly Representative Carol Ammons and Assistant Majority Leader Kimberly Lightford. We have gone through a process to put together a funding formula bill that would bring these resources, these financial resources, to our Illinois public universities. And these bills are pending in the House and in the Senate, and they're being led by the Black Caucus and these dynamic leaders. But in all things, we need the help of the community. We need your help to drive change and economic viability for our public universities, including Chicago State University. And that means that we need you to advocate for our people and our state in bringing resources to our public universities. Because politicians will listen to its university presidents, but more importantly, they will listen to the people of this state. And so we want you to galvanize and tell people that there is an equitable funding bill in the General Assembly that will fully fund our public universities. And it is time for us not just to think about education and small ball. It is time for us to think of education and what it can do to change outcomes for people in their lives. So I want you to get up and do that. And I want you to do that from this place of hope. So I thank you for being with me today and for our people. Because this is not small change. This is big opportunity for our universities. Thank you.
Before I introduce our keynote speaker today, I want to acknowledge the presence of Honorable Rory Hoskins, Mayor of Forest Park, Illinois. Good to see you, sir. We're honored today to have the Reverend Dr. Rotrino N. Middleton, Executive Director of Community Renewal Society, who is a visionary leader and prophetic voice for justice. She is the 13th Executive Director of Community Renewal Society. A preacher, a poet, activist, and healer, Dr. Middleton embodies the principles of Ubuntu. I am because we are because God is. Her global ministry has reached the halls of the United Nations, the World Council of Churches, the Carter Center, and countless communities yearning for liberation, healing, and hope. Reverend Dr. Middleton brings not only a profound theological depth, but also a lifelong commitment to organizing for a more just world. Whether lifting her voice in song, protest, or prayer, she remains steadfast in her call to build the beloved community, one rooted in faith, love, and shared humanity. Please join me in welcoming a fierce advocate, a compassionate leader, and a transformational presence, the Reverend Dr. Rautrina in Middleton.
How many of you just want to say thank you this morning? Put your hands together. If I never see another day, if I never take another trip, if I never hear another voice or make another choice, I want to say thank you. If I never hear what's to be heard, if I never see another smiling face, if I never hear another voice or make another choice, I want to say thank you. I thank you for all that you've done thus far. I thank you for being the God who you are. I thank you for food on my table. I know you're able. I want to say thank you. If I never see the China Wall, if I never hear another waterfall, if I never sing another word or hear another bird, I want to say thank you. If I never see another smiling face, if I never fall out into outer space, if I never make another choice or hear another voice, I want to say thank you.
Thank you, Madam President, Congressman, Reverend Dr. Jeanette, Pastor Boyd, to your beloved founder, Mother Jackie, on behalf of the Board of Directors and staff of Community Renewal Society, it is good to be here. And I also want to express a special gratitude to the Jackson family. My first cousin was among those who were murdered in the basement of Mother Emanuel AME Church. And it was not too much for the Jackson family, Pastor Reverend Jackson, to join us in our time of mourning and loss and to lift up the history in this country of targeting black churches and black faith spaces when they want to silence us. And so I give thanks to your family, to your father and mother, and for all that this institution continues to do on behalf of the people. Southern trees bear strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the roots, black bodies swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees, pastoral seeds of the gallant South, the bulging eyes and the twisted mouth, scent of magnolia, so sweet and fresh, then the sudden smell of human flesh. Here are the fruit for the crows to pluck, for the rain to gather, for the wind to suck, for the sun to rot, and for the trees Strange Fruit. And this song was originally a poem written by a New York poet who was of Russian Jewish heritage named Abel Maripol. And Abel came upon some lynching cards. These cards captured pictures of black bodies that had been lynched. They were sold as trading cards, and some featured children. Regrettably, today, the image of bodies of children suffering before the gaze of the world is not beyond our imagination in 2025. Albeit the public lynching of black, brown, and indigenous children killed by police in America and captured on cell phone videos, or the millions of children killed by poverty, or the millions killed in the crossfire of war. We are witnesses of a global tragedy where children become ancestors too soon. On this eve of Easter, in remembrance of an innocent man of African descent who was criminalized and lynched by the state, we are still in 2025 at the crossroads of what James Cones called the cross and the lynching tree. Abel Maripol was traumatized by the sensationalism and the normalization of these unhidden crimes against humanity. Along with this practice of collecting lynching cards, there was also a trophy collection of body parts. Black body parts that were picked away from the mutilated bodies and kept as souvenirs. This typically happened on a Saturday or a Sunday when folks would get dressed up to view these lynching parties. Imagine these church folks decked out in their church clothes, leaving their sanctuaries to burn crosses and to burn bodies. At these lynching parties, young children were dressed up to accompany their parents as they posed and smiled and celebrated the suffering of another human life. These violent acts also served as a warning to those who dared to challenge the status quo. If you dare to challenge the system, this could happen to you. If you dared to imagine you were more than the relegated place that was designated for you, this is where you could end up. Don't protest, don't march, don't resist, submit and be silent. That's why it's so poignant and powerful for the late and brilliant Toni Morrison to write in her novel, Beloved, a commission to each of us to love our bodies unapologetically. She wrote, love it hard, because in this here place we flesh that weeps, laugh, flesh that dances on bare feet in grass. Love it hard, because yonder they do not love your eyes, they just as soon pick them out. And no more do they love the skin on your back, yonder they will flay it. And oh my people, they do not love your hands, they only use them to tie, bind, chop off, and leave empty. So love your hands. Love them, raise them up and kiss them, touch others with them, pat them together, stroke them on your face, because they don't love that either. You've got to love it. You. And that is a part of our charge as people who believe in freedom, restless people who believe in freedom. We've got to love ourselves. We've got to love each other. We've got to love this movement enough that we will not rest until freedom comes for us all. An excerpt of Toni Morrison's words are etched upon the entrance of the National Memorial for Peace and Justice, also known as the Lynching Museum in Montgomery, Alabama. What Maripol did is not far removed from what abolitionists throughout the course of time have done. Yes, he was a white male living during an era of Hitler's crimes against humanity, witnessing present-day genocide against Jewish people in Germany, and simultaneously watching the lynching of black bodies in America. He did not choose to center himself solely as a Jew. He centered himself in the suffering he witnessed and used the tools of poverty and the written word of poetry and the written word to expose the sins and decry murderous acts. Maripol, the poet, wrote the poem called Strange Fruit, but it became a haunting protest song performed by the likes of Billie Holiday and Nina Simone. As an abolitionist, he stepped outside of the safety, comfort, and privileges and conveniences that he was afforded. and he used his privilege to help dismantle the master's house using innovation, truth-telling, and prophetic witness. Audre Lorde said, "You cannot dismantle the master's house using the master's tools." So our question today is, what are our tools? Here we have a Jewish man using spoken word to bear witness to the lynching tree and to protest these crimes against humanity. These bodies clearly depicting a Christological experience of Jesus and the lynching tree. The intersections here of race, religion, rage, and resistance must be our response. This is how we must show up. We are called to be the change. What is the change we are organizing for? You do not have to be a Christian to glean from and activate Christological ideals for human good. Are we using the banner of love to dismantle what bell hooks called imperialist, white, supremacist, capitalist patriarchy? Or do we perpetuate the dispossession, xenophobia, and bloodshed with our silence? And for those of us who are Christians, are we comfortable and silent in self-righteous Christian extremism? The extreme use of Christianity to justify controlling other people's bodies, lands, resources, education, employment, reproductive rights, marriage, and freedoms. Historically, we must examine the roles of that Christendom has played over the course of time as a participant in the culture of violence against the humanity of minoritized community, bearing crosses throughout the diaspora. We must examine the cultural memory of communities that have been impacted and honor the sacred narratives and spiritual memories of the suffering amidst their movements of resistance towards true liberation. From my location as a person of African descent, religion and spirituality can be used strategically and creatively to disrupt systems of oppression and to challenge a culture of violence. It was not by accident that self-proclaimed white supremacist targeted Mother Emanuel AME Church, because of its rich history of disruption and disrupting systems of oppression. For example, we must also note the brush arbors of enslaved Africans in the U.S. These secret meeting places were used to pass on culture, religion, oral history, and it served as a place of strategy making. It was an intersectional space for spiritual grounding, affirming sanctity of life. And it also was an important place for planning resistance. At a forum at Harvard University, panelists were asked, what happens to the conversation about religion if we conceptualize religion as social movements? I said it would look a lot like another abolitionist poet that I admire. It would look a lot like Sojourner Truth, an unapologetic womanist black liberation theologian of the 19th century who challenged the provisions of the 14th and 15th Amendment of the Constitution. Truth's outspokenness was grounded in challenging and deconstructing traditional Christian canonistic claims. Her biblical interpretations rebuked national government policies. She challenged biblical interpretations, and she also challenged patriarchal and racist laws. Most of us know the question, ain't I a woman? In that one question, she challenged patriarchy, racism, sexism, and the like. She wasn't always in a church setting. She attended rallies on suffrage rights. But to her, they were intersectional. Don't ask me to come and liberate your white woman feminist location when my brothers and my sisters are still yet in chains. She understood the power of intersectional movement work. And her location as a marginalized black woman, activist, human rights activist, social political agitator, and clergy were all intersectional and foundational in her understanding of moral authority. And yes, I said clergy, because her powerful God moment encounter with God came while she was on the plantation, and a voice from God spoke to her and said, you are free. And so with God's calling, she got up and walked off the plantation because God told her so. The intersectional work is required based on her understanding as a Christian servant and believer in a liberating God. Sojourner Truth used her moral authority rooted in Christendom to courageously preach, teach lessons on self-determination, socioeconomic divestment, and rejection of enslavement, systems of apartheid, and the killing of Black people in America. She made her religious locations as a Christian believer, activist, and cultural disruptor accessible to those who followed. Accessibility is important to note when we talk about Maripol, Truth, and other movement leaders who challenge religious extremism alongside challenging racism and bigotry in their welcoming and affirming stance in the world. Accessible religion, as illustrated by Truth, can be transformed into social movements. It's also affirming of the African Ubuntu concept that says, I am because we are. Understanding that I am not free if you are not free. This informs 20th and 21st century messengers of justice and the prophetic witnesses like Angela Davis, who express, we cannot begin to fight for Black liberation if we are not concerned for the liberation of South Africans, Palestinians, and the pursuit of freedoms of those in the diaspora who cry out for justice. This informs the Christian-centered and Black liberation theological claim of James Combs, who said, God is on the side of the oppressed. This informs the movement for Black lives in the U.S. when it embraced Assata Shakur's words, it is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love and support one another. We have nothing to lose but our chains. These statements, while for some appear secular, are informed by Christological themes of beloved community, Mosaic principles of love, Imago Dei, and Christ's call for collective work and responsibility alongside our neighbors. These sacred, uncalled, unanointed spaces model for us what a Christian or a faith-centered response can look like. And if we are brave enough to go to the margins like Sojourner, like Abel, like Holiday and Simone, we are in a position to be transformative leaders in our communities and be able to actualize the freedom and hope we seek. I witnessed the model of intersectionality in Ferguson, Missouri. The young activists incorporated faith-centered rituals while demanding justice for Michael Brown, protecting his body that was left to rot in the hot sun for 4.5 hours. This was their cross and their lynching tree. This was their strange fruit. And when police used excessive use of force, chemicals, and militarized occupation on their streets, they sent messages all the way out to faith leaders saying, you need to show up. You need to come. Bring your collars, bring your cross, whatever you need to do. But we should not be holding space for this beloved brother of ours alone. And so they called upon the faith community to do what it says it is called to do. But I want you to know that the church did not show up when the faith leaders show up. The church was already there, offering love and care for Michael Brown's body. The church was already there, providing fellowship, providing communion, providing all of the resources that the community needed, support and love for a grieving mother and father. The church was already there, exemplifying radical love and resistance at the same time. What I witnessed in Ferguson was the living church. It was the same symbolism of the suffering, persecution, and execution of a Black body that was criminalized and sentenced to death without a trial. Jesus' body was hung on full display for the people to see, and Brother Michael's body was left exposed. The woman showed up for Jesus when others ran away. The women, the LGBTQIA plus communities, the unhoused, the rejected ones showed up when others were silent and looked away. There are so many examples of the cross and the lynching tree throughout the course of time, and I would be remiss if I did not lift up the story right here in Chicago. We may look to Mother Mamie Till, who opened the casket of her young son who was mutilated and lynched at the age of 14 in Money, Mississippi, after being accused of making advances towards a white woman. Strange fruit. In this courageous act, Mamie Till served as a global messenger, exposing the hypocrisy of America, failing to address its own crimes against its humanity. The stage for Mother Mamie's act was in the church. The funeral, Black religiosity on display, a mother in mourning being comforted by the church and the community. This was not done separate from outrage and lament, but the intersectional responsibility to lift up suffering while also holding and embracing one another with unapologetic love. Maripool and Billie Holiday understood this and used the arts to be in dialogue transnationally with those who believe in love and freedom and the sanctity of life. And this is how we as a universal body of love must show up. These experiences are not just American experiences. They are a part of the diaspora. Lynching triggers imagery of genocide, apartheid, and other forms of widespread community suffering. We can look back to Hurricane Katrina and Rita, refugees in their own land criminalized for trying to survive and not drown or starve. Flint, Michigan, and other water deserts in the United States across the cities of America where lead poisoning is disproportionately higher in Black urban communities than in suburbia. COVID-19 and the fight to ensure personal protection equipment is in the prison industrial complex, and ensuring that clean water is available in statehood before it was closed. And even now, ensuring that vaccination that could prevent the spread of HIV/AIDS is available in sub-Saharan Africa when this administration has decided to halt the distribution of such aids. Strange fruit shows up in more than one ways, not just on the lynching tree. You cannot tell me that withholding vaccines is not a systemic and systematic act to kill and harm Black bodies of African descent. If we do not pay attention, we will miss the opportunity to see God in the flesh and behold the wondrous power of love. And that is what Easter has always been about. It's not singularly about a crucifixion, although we cannot and must not ignore the lynching tree. It is a resurrection story. It is a story of resistance. It is a story of reparations. It is a story of reclaiming our narratives. And it is a story of righteous rage. It is a story of remembrance. And in the spirit of Sankofa, it is a story of returning to the source. So in these global movements, we must be in solidarity with Palestine. In these global movements, we must be in solidarity with those who come to our borders. We must be able to be in solidarity with those seeking asylum and new opportunities. We must not be closed-minded and think that the issue of immigration does not have an impact on us. We are interconnected. And when those who come to these shores from Haiti, Sudan, and some of the communities that are directly impacted, we must be a welcoming community and not allow the news media to get sound bites of our communities saying that they must go. Yeah. We must lift up sound bites of love. Why am I centering the narratives of Blackness when we are talking about responding as Christians to the plight we face today in this Kairos moment? It is critical to note that movements for Black, Brown, and Indigenous communities have long held an international agenda, and we cannot think of any movement for Black lives in this country without knowing and engaging the Black church, unions, and grassroots movements. We have to be mindful of the movement for Black lives, the Black trade unions, the United Farm Workers, Operation Breadbasket, and so many that have paralleled their struggle for Black, Brown, and Indigenous communities, global platforms, and also alongside faith. And I conclude with this, the words of our beloved brother who wrote a letter to Angela Davis. And he said to her that if they come for me in the morning, surely they will come for you in the night. James Baldwin. The wisdom of James Baldwin is not far removed from us today. The wisdom of James Baldwin calls us into action in a spirit of love, in a spirit of community, and in a spirit of radical resistance, so that occupations in the White House that we see today cannot prevail, cannot win. Because as long as we who believe in freedom are restless, determined, hopeful, and rooted in love and Ubuntu, we will win. We will win. We will win together. God bless you.
Come on, let's give it up for Dr. Middleton. Well, now is the time for you to partner with Rainbow Push. You can donate in cash or check, online as well. Envelopes are being passed out as the others are walking around. It's also an opportunity for you to join Rainbow Push, to be a part of the coalition, to be a part of the family. We encourage you to do so. Those who are here in the building, as well as those online, we encourage you to join the Rainbow Push Coalition family. Scan the QR codes there as well. Give a little something, something. $10, $20, $100. We're not going to lock the doors. You ain't got to worry about that. But we do want you to give, to be a part of the family, to ensure that the work and the mission continues. Amen? Well, without further ado, I want to introduce our Congressman, Jonathan Jackson, as he comes now.
Good morning, Rainbow Push. It is a pleasure and honor to be back before you today and wishing my mother and father a very happy Easter, and to each of you a happy Easter in this holy season. I would like to also give a very special thank you to Ms. Middleton. Give her another loving round of applause. And give my college president, Z. Scott, a wonderful round of applause. I've had the honor and privilege of teaching at Chicago State. Look forward to getting back in there in front of a classroom sometime soon. I teach not so that I can give out as much information, but how else can you learn if you don't sit down there and talk to the children? The children give us a lesson every day. On this Easter season, my remarks briefly will be on the midday crucifixion and the midnight resurrection. The midday crucifixion and the midnight resurrection, because it was during the middle of the day, with high noon, the sun was up, that decrees were given, executive orders were promulgated, pushed. There were midday news conferences saying what the agenda was going to be. Midday is when Jesus, our Christ, was pinned on a cross and crucified. Everybody saw it. Everybody knew what happened. Love was put on a cross. Nails were pierced through the hands. Nails were pierced through the feet. But if you look at the biblical understanding of a crucifixion / a lynching, why would you crucify someone when you could easily take their life, restrain their breath, stop their heart? There are other methods, but the crucifixion, if you will, was supposed to be a slow, torturous, drip, drip death. And technically, after you have been crucified, your technical form of death is asphyxiation. You actually suffocate at the end of a crucifixion, because you're standing erect and your blood is dripping out, slowly but surely taking it out of your oxygen and your lungs. The crucifixion is what it feels like we're going through today. When you see there's a war on the auto pen, did Biden actually sign this? There's a war on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Who can turn diversity, equity, inclusion into divisiveness? Excoriating exclusivity, where he says we are now being prejudiced against white men. Who can turn inclusion into meaning incompetence? Who can dare say that we have now benefited and we have hurt Caucasian men? It's a wickedness in high places. Who takes on the military and saying that you can no longer honor the heroism of Jackie Robinson? That language of Mr. Jackie Robinson having broke the color barrier, I think that lane is too sanitized, frankly. We need to talk about Mr. Jackie Robinson having broke the inferiority, superiority mentality that was in baseball. What is the problem? Half of the equation is we honor Jackie Robinson. But brothers and sisters, I tell you today, you need to tell the whole story. We need not just mention Jackie Robinson because he did a great thing and he stood for civil rights. He broke down the walls of segregation. He was an athlete. He was a military person. He did tremendous service. But we also have to acknowledge that of Branch Rickey, the owner of the team. Yes. Somebody would say, well, hold on. That's too far. Why are you talking about both? Branch Rickey was the team owner. Jackie Robinson could have never made the team unless there was some courageous, good man, good person that had the right spirit of Christ and the American values. He said, I'm going to take on the heat. I'm going to take on the headwind. Jackie Robinson was not picked simply because he was the best athlete. He was picked because he was a great athlete and mature enough to take the hits. In his first season, Jackie Robinson got hit with the most wild pitches. There were actually strikes to hit him and hurt him. He got more hit balls on him than there were wild pitches in the entire league combined. They tried to break his spirit. Branch Rickey said, I'm going to need you to be that excellent off the field as you are on the field because you've got to carry it for the race. We have to talk about race. If there's something I can think about, I want to thank Mr. President Donald J. Trump for. He makes it a whole lot easier to teach African American history now. Of course, I'm saying that tongue in cheek, but he's made it easier, Mr. Donald J. Trump, to teach about our history. When I see the young man that was kidnapped and put down in El Salvador, walk with me just for a moment. Have you seen a modern-day slave facility? Doesn't that bring up all the horrors of slavery? When people say it couldn't have been that cruel and it couldn't have been that mean and they couldn't have kidnapped someone in the middle of the day and shipped them abroad and put them in cages where they have to sleep on steel crates, that's slavery all over again. When you see a United States president defy federal judges, everyone in here knows what a federal judge says. And what you think they mean, say, you oftentimes go cautious so that you won't be in. Oh, somebody in here doesn't know. But let me tell you, when you go down to the federal courthouse, your federal judge's name is on a silver little placard in there not to be removed. And they say the difference between a federal judge and God is God knows he's God, but a federal judge thinks he's God. Federal judges have a lot of power. It's an appointment for life. And your soul will be gone, some federal judges. You ain't going to last forever, but God will. But when you go to that federal courthouse and the federal judge tells the president of the United States, you cannot use the Alien Enemies Act that was last used in the 1900s to round up Asian Americans and put them in camps during the war. He says, you can't do it. They said, but the plane had already taken off. And the president's so comfortable with dictators from Central America sitting in there mocking our federal judiciary. It's midnight in America. When you see that now they have said we are going to confront by executive order, he says we're going to deal with improper ideologies in our national museums. He says one thing, but then what is the action? They go straight after the African American History Museum. They don't want us to know our history, but there's nothing new about that. He's making it easier for us to teach our history. But we teach it not to gloat, but so that it can be an instruction. It can be a pathway, a map, so others can learn. We've been here before. What does it mean when they take on Harvard University? Founded by John Harvard, 1636, 389 years ago. What does it mean when they say we're going to withhold $2.7 billion in your research funding? My God, doesn't that sound like our businesses when they hold up our paychecks, hold up our contracts, It's midnight in America. He takes on an institution, and I thank God for the courageous leadership of the board and the president of Harvard University for standing up. Somebody's got to do it. And that's one of the reasons I am so honored, so proud to be the congressional representative of the 1st District of Illinois, because you all have put me right where I want to be, and I thank God. Think about it. Harvard University had to stand up and push back. They said, you're not going to use this false red flag of anti-Semitism to do all this other damage to the university. The Jewish community of students up there said, not in my name. You're not going to say you're fighting anti-Semitism and then tell Harvard University, the United States government has to determine who comes in here from foreign countries and international students. Harvard University was also told the federal government has to have some say over your improper ideology. They told Harvard University, we have to look over your curriculum as the federal government. The United States government told Harvard University, we have to make sure that we can monitor your students and look at their social media. Harvard University said no. But it's something about the soil of Chicago. I don't know why it didn't start in the universities right here in Chicago, but somebody has to push back on a bully. And I'm going to use those proper terms, but there's some other language that we have. When you see some little weasel, vicious, lewd, licentious, lascivious, protozoan scavenger, trying to be a bully. Catch me at the barbecue and I'll tell you the rest. There's a shortened version. It's lewd. It's wrong. But then the law firm right here in the city of Chicago, the home of Jean-Baptiste Dusable, Jenner and Block tells the Trump administration, no. A law firm said, I'm not backing down. You're not going to withhold my security clearances. You're not going to stop me from representing clients. And I'm not going to stop my diversity program. Somebody had to push back. I've shared with you again, that is why my friend Cleo Fields and I started the Diversity and Inclusion Equity Caucus. You can't tell me as a co-equal branch of government what I can say that are aspirational words. No more kowtowing. No more backing down. When you talk about it's dark in America, when you cut taxes for the rich and you cut Medicaid for the poor, when you cut taxes for the rich and you cut Medicare for the poor, when you cut taxes for the rich and you cut out the school lunch programs, when you cut taxes for the rich and you want to cut out Social Security benefits, when you cut taxes for the rich and you want to cut USAID and malaria and HIV medication, when you cut taxes for the rich and you want to balance it off the back of the poor, that's midnight in the midday of America. But just like the story teaches us, while Jesus was on the cross, it was eclipsed. It got dark in the middle of the day. But the resurrection happened at midnight because when they came in the morning, the stone had been rolled away. Let me reach to my conclusion here. Jesus was crucified in the midday, in the mid-noon. He resurrected in the dark. In the darkest of times, God does his most magnificent work. The story does not stop at the cross. The story goes on beyond the empty tomb. Mr. Trump won't stay in there forever. But your words and your actions and your deeds shall be recorded by all history and all time. When I see a diverse coalition now building, when I see my colleague AOC moving on out with Senator Bernie Sanders, when I see law firms pushing back, when I see universities pushing back, when I see Costco says we're going to keep our diversity, equity, and inclusion, I got a message for all of those in power and corridors and the people that are making things happen. Don't give up. Don't have any despair. History is on our side, and the walls that Mr. Trump are trying to erect, they're beginning to crack. You see, when the founders of this nation who were impure, and ideologically impure, they were thin on deeds and thick on words. They had written words higher and bigger than themselves. They said all men are created equal, although it's a contradiction that they did not treat us as human beings. But even God can make a straight lick, my father told me, with a crooked stick. We have been a work in progress since the nation was founded. African Americans come to the shore in 1619. After 246 years, after 1865, we finally got recognized as being human beings after 246 years. So when Mr. Trump and Mr. Vance talk about improper ideology at the African American History Museum, when he says they have divisive rhetoric, well, the nation was built upon a divisive premise when you locked us out and excluded us. We would not have these problems had you let African Americans be recognized as full human beings in the beginning. Why do they have to try to remove our images from history? This is what Dr. Karji Woodson told us. And we know Dr. Karji Woodson from West Virginia, grew up in the coal mines in an integrated community. We know Dr. Karji Woodson. He went to Berea College, that the land was donated by General Cassius Clay, where Muhammad Ali, formerly Cassius Clay, gets his name from, where the minister, a white abolitionist minister, ended up creating the first integrated college in the United States. This is where Dr. Karji Woodson went to undergrad. Then he started seeing, as a late student, that there were no records, no history, no accomplishments that had been documented for African Americans, because by law we had been excluded. Then he came where? To the 1st District of Illinois, right over here to the University of Chicago. And he created his thesis on African American history. He started as Negro History Week. He wanted to make American history roll. Read his book. He puts it out there. One is the miseducation of the Negro, where he goes on to tell you if you give a Negro, if you don't show him any accomplishments, the whole world will despise him. He had to make history whole. Dr. Karji Woodson even said he envisioned a day and time where you would no longer need African American Negro History Month. He said he envisioned a time where you would no longer need Negro History Month. Why? Because he simply wanted to make American history whole. When you exclude the African experience, you do have deletion, distortion, you have pure propaganda. He wanted to make American history whole. Why did he put it in February? So he could honor the birth of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. He wanted to show black and white progress together. Mr. Trump, we're not divisive. You are divisive. And of course, that same Dr. Cargie Woodson left Chicago. And where did he go? He went to Harvard. He became the second African American behind Dr. W.B. Du Bois. And we know Dr. W.B. Du Bois, the architect and one of the founders of the NAACP, went to Harvard. So I thank God it's just something in the soil of Harvard that makes them want to stand up and fight back. I'm going to see if I can go to Harvard sometime. It's just that kind of school. But the man is trying to decapitate our government. We've heard beautiful voices that have been quoted today by Dr. Scott and Reverend Middleton. But don't you realize that they've taken out at the military academies the writings of James Baldwin? A dear friend of mine, the author Lynn Nottage, they've taken her out. Ta-Nehisi Coates, his books are being taken out. They're taking our books out of the military academies. How can you be more divisive than that? But let me tell you about mourning that comes with Jesus. It gives you a sense of no fear, because you know, although your enemies may persecute you and your enemies may lie on you, no lie can live forever. You know that there is salvation, that he came to save the world. You know that if they can do it to the Son of our God in Jesus Christ, they can do it through you. In the words of Reverend Donald Parsons, history does not repeat itself. People repeat history. People are trying to repeat history again. But what Mr. Trump and this administration needs to understand, we are not going to bend over. We are not going to bow down. We are not going to back up. We're going to stand up for our culture. We're going to stand up for our heritage. We're going to stand up for our community. We're going to stand up for God's children. No tyrant is going to be in the White House forever. We're going to stand up because we're God-fearing. We're going to stand up because we're God-loving. We're going to stand up because we don't fear any man on this earth. We're not afraid of you, Donald J. Trump. I'm not afraid of you, Mr. J.D. Vance. And I thank God our Christ has risen.
Come on, can we give another round of applause to President Z. Scott, to Dr. Middleton, and to Congressman Jackson. Reverend Congressman Jackson. You may take your seats as we prepare to conclude this day. Again, donations and membership opportunities are still here for you to partake in. And we are appreciative. I was asked to include the bill number as it relates to Chicago State and an equitable educational opportunity for our children here in the state of Illinois. If you will call your representatives in the Senate and the House, it is Senate Bill 13 and House Bill 1581. Again, President Scott informed of this of the equitable educational opportunity of affordability and access. Again, that is Senate Bill 13, House Bill 1581. Call your folks. We still got a couple weeks left in this General Assembly, and let's get this passed. Again, thank you to all of our speakers who were here today. I believe we have a little musical selection before we end the day, and let's hear from them now.
hopefully you guys enjoyed the service today. And we're going to do this here. And y'all pray with me. I'm nervous, but oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good. Yes, he is good. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good. For he is good. For he is worthy, worthy. For he is good. Yes, he is good. For he is worthy, worthy. For he is good. For he is good. Come on. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good. Yes, he is good. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good. Yes, he is good. For he is worthy, worthy. For he is good. Yes, he is good. For he is worthy, worthy. For he is good. For he is good. For he is good. Yes, he is good. For he is good. Yes,
To your feet right now, if you know the Lord our God is worthy. Put your hands together right now, right here, right now. Just shout out, right. Yes, he is good.
He is good. Yes, 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 he is good. He is good. Yes, he is good.
Will you give God a hand clap of praise for what we've heard today and how we have been encouraged? Listen, we are prepared to go from this place, but never from God's presence. We admonish you in this resurrection season. This day is known as Silent Saturday. There was nothing happening but organizing. They gathered together for safety. They gathered together with consideration of what would be, with anticipation and uncertainty of what Sunday could be. But we are assured of the resurrection of Jesus Christ, and I am assured, as the Congressman has reminded us, as Dr. Middleton has reminded us, and President Scott has reminded us Negroes in America always resurrect. And so may you go with that in the forefront of your mind today. Now may the grace of God, the sweet communion of the Holy Spirit rest on above you now, henceforth, evermore, and all of God's people said, amen. Have a blessed rest of your day.